This is Julie Conway. This is her sketchbook, and this is where she brings to life the most beautiful glass lighting you've ever seen. Her art gets commissioned by the rich and famous, displayed in galleries all around the world, and even in museums. Having spent the last 25 years mastering her craft, entirely financed by her own work, she seems to be living every artist's dream.
My name is Julie Conway. I am a glassblower lighting designer, and I am the owner of Illuminata Art Glass Design.
But it wasn't always like this, and we know because we've been working with her for 7 years before all of this.
I just was feeling really bogged down. I was feeling a little disrespected in my business. I just felt like there was a never-ending task list, and I was pretty depressed.
So what happened? What are the lessons of going from struggling artist to successful entrepreneur? We flew to her studio in Seattle to find out.
The first thing is tenacity and showing up almost every day.
Lesson 1, how to work like an artist.
You know, there are days where you're just like, I'm not feeling creative, I don't know. There's all kinds of things like that, and it still actually happens to me now. You know, I can be stuck on a project or not know what to do, but coming down and maybe even cleaning the studio or moving some stuff around or playing with an idea that isn't the actual client idea that might inspire you to do something else, and then you're on your way.
I mean, she is tenacious. That's why I don't talk about it, because I know she is. You know what I mean? Like, I know she's showing up for that because she's a total baller when it comes to the actual art. I don't think in 6 years I've ever heard her say like, oh, I'm not going to show up to do this. In fact, the only time it ever got frustrating was during like COVID, where it was like she wanted to show up more and then things weren't as accessible. I would imagine getting back in the studio and doing the art is therapeutic. It's meditative in that way, where she can go and do something she loves.
Julie's first key to working like an artist is to just get up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Not relying on motivation, but the habit of it. It's a simple enough idea, but it works because of some really powerful psychology that gets unlocked. Every decision you make changes your options for subsequent decisions in the future. We have this branching kind of road in front of us, and the choice we make now, the direction we take, it determines what pathways are open to us at the next intersection, and the next one after that, and the next one, and the next one. So in the life of an artist or entrepreneur, some of those early decisions are easy to make, like just going to the studio every day. People tend to focus too much on the difficult behaviors that branch further down the road, the paths that take them directly to their ultimate goal, before they've even started moving towards it, before they've even gotten on the road. It's a little bit like an aspiring novelist laying in bed trying to figure out how to end the book they haven't even started writing yet. And the first step is just getting up to write. So for Julia, it would be thinking about the next amazing award-winning breakthrough design, or how to finally fix some tricky problem for a client commission. These things are tough. But when you're starting out, thinking about those difficult things you have to face, there's a ton of mental discomfort and there's a ton of resistance to that. And it pushes people away from the easy decisions they need to make to even get to the place where they can try at that harder stuff. If a novelist obsesses about the perfect ending, they might never get started. They might never get out of bed. But Julie, she doesn't stay home ruminating about the scary, confronting parts of her work. She just gets into the studio every single day, sometimes under the pretext of just cleaning or playing with something. But she puts herself in the exact right place to start work on the hard thing. And it's not some huge decision she needs to summon a ton of willpower for. What you can learn from Julie is that by focusing on easy, early decisions that get you to where you do your best and important work, you can benefit from behavioral inertia, which is the idea that we tend to keep doing what we're already doing because it takes less effort.
I think I'm the artist through and through. Like, I have a vision and I want to do the fun things, because if I'm let loose in here, I could be plugging in something, I'm on a ladder, I've gone and gotten the scissor lift, I'm experimenting with light and glass, and I continually play with all of my stuff. I love the drawing, I love the experimentation, I love illumination and sourcing out light sources or bulbs or lamps or whatever type of thing we're going to put with the components. If I'm writing an email or if I'm writing a proposal, I'll have to isolate myself, places like the Olympic Sculpture Park or the library, so I actually get that business stuff done. And then you have to sit your butt in a chair and just get it done.
Julie didn't get into this so she could sit in front of her computer for 24 hours a day. She needs to do those things, though, to grow, and that's where I see our calls as useful, because I put urgency on those computer things. However, we balance them, and she's right. She does go to different locations. We speak about different environments. She went to Florida, I think. It was on the beach doing Head Start. Like she does certain things in different locations, and that's one of them too. Like doing Head Start at a beach somewhere, in the sand. Thinking bigger picture on her goals.
By creating and designing spaces for specific types of work, you can actually train your mind to shift gears more easily, to increase focus, and ultimately to enhance your productivity. This strategy is especially useful for entrepreneurs who often need to balance a lot of different roles and different tasks. Now, in Julie's case, her studio acts as her creative playground, triggering Julie the artist. This space is wall to wall, just loaded with artistic stimuli, stuff that primes her creativity and her artistic exploration. Then on the other hand, when it's time to switch to Julie the entrepreneur, she deliberately places herself in calm, focused environments like the Olympic Sculpture Park or the library. These settings offer serenity and structure, and less inspiration perhaps, but less distractions, aiding her in tackling the administrative tasks she needs to keep her business moving. When entrepreneurs figure this kind of environmental architecture out for themselves, it allows them to benefit from context-dependent memory, a phenomenon where our recall is better when we're in the same environment we first learned or processed the information, meaning that certain environments start to become associated with specific types of tasks or mindsets and enhance our performance at those tasks. The next lesson we can take from Julie's success is how to think like a business so you don't starve and you can sustain your creativity.
I didn't go the traditional art route.
Lesson 2, how to think like an entrepreneur.
Being a traditional artist, you would make a collection, you would give it to a gallery, hand over all the power to that gallery, and let your work sit there. And then maybe they could sell it, and then maybe they'd sell one, or maybe they'd sell two, and then they'd pay you on a net 60 or a net 90. And if you could scrape your little 50% out of the gallery arrangement, that way down the road, then maybe you can kind of piece enough galleries together. And I wasn't interested in that. I wanted to make a piece and I wanted to integrate it into someone's life and I wanted to be paid. So I started with my own sort of systems, like, I'll make this for you. You're gonna pay me 50% up front, like a design commission, and I will complete it. And then I built every client one by one.
Julie highlights a clear tactical business takeaway here. Going direct to consumer instead of relying on an intermediary distributor gives you a lot more ownership of your work and the ability to dictate your own terms. But more than that, there's a deeper insight here for entrepreneurs, regardless of the business model, and that's about the delicate balance between authenticity and market demand, between the founder's vision, the artist's vision, and what the audience actually needs. The traditional gallery system sets artists up for the same fate as so many startups, pouring time, effort, and soul into making something that ultimately nobody wants. And the solution is to follow Julie's transition from an artist absorbed in her own creative world to an entrepreneur who can look up and refocus on who is this all for? The customer.
Like every time she gets a client, I feel like a prospect who gives her a little shit on the price, it turns into the creative control part diminishing. And then I hear like weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, about how that just like wasn't a fulfilling project and we don't want more of those projects. And then next time that comes up, I point out that red flag when it sticks out. I'm like, and I ask like, okay, are they balking at the price? The ones who have the money in that luxury space, who don't think twice about the price, are the ones who totally just give her creative license and appreciate her work for what it is. And they want that. Like they want the unique Julie thing. They aren't the ones trying to micromanage the artist who's doing that unique thing in the first place.
Working with Commit Action really did start those conversations with my coach. Like, I know I cannot sustain if I'm keeping this level. I will do one project and barely make anything, one project, barely make anything. That's just sort of like trade one for one. But you can't have any growth. And it's a very stressful place to be. Then you get a reputation, you work with the design industry, you get other clients, they word of mouth. And then you learn some pretty hard knocks about pricing. Can I raise my prices? Well, I think that's somewhere where you start growing in yourself too. Now I bring over 25 years of glass to that. So I kind of have something to step on and say, I'm a specialist. I have this value. I believe it in myself and I can bring that to you.
This is a super powerful reminder of the importance of value-based pricing. It's not just about the cost of materials or the time spent, but also about the unique value and expertise brought to the table. But Any entrepreneur who tries to figure this out has to also get the confidence that Julie found, recognizing your own worth and asserting it with your pricing strategy. If you want customers to believe your work is worth it, you have to believe it too. And the final thing we learned was about taking risk and rolling with the punches.
So we embrace danger and we live for it.
Lesson 3, embrace danger.
To be a glass artist, you are embracing danger. Number 1, it will burn you, it will cut you, it will break just as you're about to deliver it to a client. Oh my God, the meltdowns can be huge, huge. Financial losses, total scare of like how we're gonna pay the bills at the end of the month. I have been there. We can have these big ideas of like, oh, this is gonna be so successful. I'm invited to New York. I'm gonna do this great show. Well, that show cost me $22,000 and I'm in the hole and nothing has sold. Great. All of that enthusiasm is gone. And now I have to pull myself up. Getting out of the headspace is one of the biggest things that I can do to pull myself out of that dark valley of despair.
I look at our calls as a zoom out. It's not just Julie. I look at all my client calls like that. My clients are all zoomed in. They're in their own world. They have a lot going on. They're reacting on impulse to a lot of things. Every minute, every day. That 20 minutes is the time where they zoom out of that. I force them out of that. And we talk about things from a different perspective, from that 30,000 foot view or 40,000 foot view. And look how it aligns with future them. I think Julie's no different in that. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things out of her control. There's a lot of things in her control. Like, you learn something through the venting. Like, you see like fear of success. You see like some of the consequences of some of these actions she's taking. I don't take that lightly.
She's so successful, and most artists would kill to trade places with her. But like any entrepreneur, that success is earned through what feels like a knife fight on a roller coaster. I love learning about how entrepreneurs stay sane and succeed. And her secret is, once again, her connection to her environment, place, location. At the bottom of Julie's personal valleys over the years, she gets herself out of dark places by throwing herself into creative work in that hot shop, or by just disconnecting in nature and mentally disconnecting from the stress itself.
I definitely just like to come here or go blow glass or do something creative. Alternatively, I will remove myself from all of this and go to nature and walk and sit against the trees or go to something bigger than me. And that is usually like the ocean or the mountains or the trees or something that has a longer history than I will ever have and a lot more wisdom than any other humans, and then just sort of like hand it over, and just get out of that space.
What she finds in these moments is perspective, a way of looking at things that reframes it all and kind of diminishes the crisis at hand, which is right. Like, it's funny hearing her talk about it. She can't remember all the dark days, the catastrophes, and what they were about. She's moved on from it all, but she can't stop talking about the forest, the ocean, and she goes back to these places with new challenges, now knowing they're also going to be forgotten about one day, while those amazing places she goes to, they endure. What's the reframe? That the risks and trials of entrepreneurship itself are minor when compared to the very real challenge of making the art. And she lives for that art. And if she can live for the art, she can live through the valleys of entrepreneurship. And just like art, entrepreneurship is for the bold. The meek need not apply. If you can face the fire as Julie does, you can create something truly special for yourself and for the world.
Being a light artist is bringing light to the world. And that is my tagline, is I literally bring light and beauty to the world. And that is what I want to share with others. And nothing can be taken from you if you follow that light.